Like, man, you could just throw somebody down the freaking hill and nobody would find them.
My grandpa. So watermelon's a big thing there, and that's where some of the best watermelon you'll get is in Cave City, Arkansas, and they used to be such a big business down there that if you were caught in somebody's watermelon patch, they would shoot you and bury you out in the patch somewhere. Allegedly, this is what my grandfather would say would happen 50, 60 years ago.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome to Hoosier Nerds Podcast with your hosts, the two Chris's. It's a Chris episode for now.
Chris episode.
Tim, we said 8 o'clock, and Tim said he needed 15 minutes, and here we are. We're just going to start without him, and he can join whenever he wants to join. He'll call us, or we'll call him eventually. You have to keep it on in the group chat. I'll give him a call since I got his number.
I'll keep it on in the group chat.
I just wanted to get it started because there's a storm rolling in and a lot of lightning. So I didn't want to be interrupted by tornado sirens or something. Which it's just a severe weather threat, nothing more than that.
So I didn't even get a push for a weather threat.
You didn't? I did. I have that. It's called My Radar.
I've got the Weather Channel.
Also, I am drinking Old Ezra Bourbon, 117 proof. It's pretty good. I'm already feeling it. This is my second glass.
Well, no wonder I'd be on the floor.
I like my bourbon. I got a whole bourbon collection in there. Got Bland's. I got Angel's Envy. I have a bottle of Booker's, which I haven't opened yet because that is for my wedding. That's what I'll drink on my wedding day. Is my idea, at least, because it was a $110 bottle. If
I had that bottle would never be opened.
Well, it was for a special occasion. Remember the one wedding we were a part of, and I brought that really nice bourbon for us all to drink?
Yes.
And you and I were the only ones that drank it?
Yes.
I was really mad about that.
I'm sure you were.
Because I had to drink his and his.
I'm sure you were.
Because that was some good bourbon. And one of them barely even sipped it, and the other one smelled it. You don't smell it. Actually, you should smell your bourbon. Bourbon smells good, but you smell it, so it doesn't smell good to me. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Go get him a juice box.
Right. He gets drunk off. He got drunk off of like 2 Smirnoff ices.
I love Smirnoff Ice.
Dude, cheerleader beer is amazing.
I like Smirnoff Ice. It's like 7-Up.
When I was in college, I got made fun of because I liked Smirnoff Ice. And in college, guys are supposed to do shots of vodka or whiskey or rum.
Right.
And girls are supposed to drink that shit. Why? I like the fruity.
I love the flavor of it. It's good. I'll drink it all day long. I don't even care.
Why should I wince every time I take a sip or, take a shot and get sick when I can, enjoy my drink?
I did that on Thanksgiving night one night, drank a bunch of Smirnoff Ice.
The one problem with Smirnoff Ice or, Mike's Hard Lemonade or any of that fruity, sugary stuff, you get a headache really bad.
I don't.
I do.
But it hits me pretty hard really fast. So.
That was some thunder.
Well, yeah, just lightning.
Yeah, but it was a boom.
Dude, it went through. You should have seen the storm I went through when I was down in Arkansas. Holy
what happened?
Crap. It was blowing in sideways, and I almost went downtown. I drove through the downtown Eureka Springs area, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll get some dinner and do this. And I drove through there, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to go get something on the outskirts of town. So I did that, and then I went back to my hotel, and then it let loose. I am so glad I did not go down there.
I saw some of the photos you posted from Eureka Springs.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I've been there once, and I was like 10 or 11, I think.
It's like a 9-hour drive.
Yeah.
From here. Far. It's nothing. You can drive in a day.
When you go to Arkansas, Arkansas is a drive-through state. No one thinks of Arkansas, but it's
a beautiful state. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So I went there. I went to Eureka. I had personal reasons to go to that area. So, but I stayed in Eureka Springs, and then I kind of drove around. I went to this battlefield, Pea Ridge.
Yeah.
Which actually was one of the most important battles of the Civil War that nobody talks about.
No one talks about the Western theater of the Civil War.
It's always Gettysburg, Manassas, maybe Cold Harbor, Shiloh, places like that.
Yeah.
But they never talked Pea Ridge. And what the importance of Pea Ridge was, had the Union and the Union general said there, we have to win this. This can't be another Manassas. Had the Union Army lost, Missouri would have become a Confederate state.
Yeah, and that's the whole western.
Exactly, and
theater.
it was already split anyway. Missouri was split anyway, kind of like Missouri, Kansas.
Kansas was like one of the big powder kegs right at the beginning.
Yes, exactly.
Because they had a mini Civil War there about a decade before the real Civil War.
Right. Well, I mean, Missouri was a powder keg because you had this. You had people split in Missouri either way.
What was the parallel 2030? Where below a certain line could be slave states, and above a certain line
the Mason-Dixon line?
Yeah. Was that what it was called?
I know it.
Shit, I'm the history guy.
You're thinking 38th parallel. That's Vietnam.
No, but there's another parallel. There's something with America parallels we like to make lines with.
But this general, he was from Texas, right? He wouldn't wear he wouldn't wear the gray outfit, right? The gray. He wore black.
Yeah.
So while his soldiers are coming out of these woods to attack, they see him there in his black uniform, and they just popped him off.
Was this the Confederate general?
Yeah, it was a Confederate general. They just popped him off right there because he was so obvious. He stood out well, he must be important. So bang! So they killed him, and they had at one point in the battle, the Union line, shoulder to shoulder, was a mile wide.
Really?
Yes.
How many men would that have been?
It was. I mean, and then you could see the whole. Like you go on this overlook, and you can overlook the battlefield area.
What was it called? Battle of Pea Ridge?
Battle of Pea Ridge. And the way they attacked, on one day, it was like a 2-day battle. On one day of the battles, they had a Union, I think he might have been German, but he was a Union soldier, he's a Union general. Mm-hmm. And when he told them to attack the guns, the Confederate guns, he said, take the guns out one by one. Which means just shell this gun until it's done. Yeah. Then move to the next one. That's the first time that strategy was ever used in war.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I learned this in one of my world history classes, and I wrote a pretty nice paper about it, if I do say so myself. Yeah. Pat myself on the back right there. The American Civil War is really a test ground for a lot of new technology because they had a new mini ball, which was the new projectile.
Yes,
which wasn't just a ball.
It wasn't a ball. It was an actual bullet, right?
And rifling.
Right.
That's why casualty numbers are so damn high because they were still using line tactics when they should have been using more fire and maneuver tactics.
Right.
Because they grew up learning about the the Napoleonic War.
The Revolutionary War, where they would just come towards each other and fight and shoot, which is the most ridiculous way to fight.
The weapons of the time outpaced the tactics.
Yes,
because the guns are so accurate. Because the reason the line battles are so important back then was because guns are so inaccurate. Me to the kitchen over there, 50 feet. The gun's inaccurate.
Exactly.
Now, when you have 50 people lined up shooting at the 50 feet away, you're going to hit something.
You're going to hit something, right?
But the guns are so accurate, and then they started getting, lever action guns.
Yeah.
They started getting the first machine gun. Not really a machine gun, but, it was a machine gun.
The Gatling gun?
The Gatling gun was in the war.
Right.
And where was I even going with this? I don't even remember. But, the technology
that was part of the Civil War.
It was Prussia at the time, the Prussian Empire in Europe. A lot of European powers had advisors and people to come over and watch the war because you're not in the war. Let's go see what they're doing and figure out something. The one thing that really revolutionized that not a lot of people think about was the Union's use of railroads, because a lot of battle tactics and a lot of battle planning was planned with the Union around the railroad. Because how else are you going to bring troops from New York all the way to Arkansas?
Right, this is true.
Trains. So the Prussians took that, built up their railroads. And the reason in the Prussian-Franco War, they defeated the French army the French army was the largest army at the time.
Right.
But the Prussian army beat it within a few months because they got all their troops thanks to the railroad to the front.
They also learned that if you take out the railroad, then supply lines are done.
Yeah.
And that happened so much when Sherman went through the South, he tore up the rail lines from Atlanta. Because then you capture Atlanta and you capture the rail lines there, and you just tear up all the rail lines from there to the sea. You can't get supplies anywhere.
Tearing up the rail lines in Atlanta would be like tearing up the interstate in Indiana. Indiana has more interstates than any other state.
You're right.
So tearing up the interstate in Indiana would destroy the U.S. supply and economy.
Yeah.
No one really thinks about that. Speaking of, Indiana is. I saw somewhere where they're going to start building all interstates in Indiana are going to be 3 lanes eventually.
Oh, really?
Which I think is a good idea.
Oh, God. It's a nightmare.
Just more traffic.
More construction.
But
That's a pain. But Pea Ridge, very important battle. It was a really neat battle. I went there. So you go there, and there was this area. There was a field hospital.
Mm-hmm.
There was a big battle in this area, and there was a little town there called Leetown. And
that was strong. Sorry.
So Leetown's not there anymore. There's nothing. It's just kind of like an open field. But they used it as a hospital area. And you can walk back there. And I walked back there, and I'm coming back. And, me being the ghost guy, I was like, anybody here with me? Just because I was by myself. Boom, I got goosebumps like that. Then I'm out on the battlefield.
Yeah. Did you take a tour, or did you just kind of go off by yourself?
No, well, you can't. The visitor center was closed, which that
COVID?
sucks.
Or-
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I couldn't even go in the bookstore because I would have bought a book.
Yeah.
But there was an there was a ranger up on this peak and I asked her some questions, and she was the one telling me about the mile wide.
Yeah.
But I just followed the battlefield around, and you could follow on your phone, and they have videos of each stop.
Did they have QR codes you could scan?
Yeah, it was a QR code you got at the beginning, and you could just flip to the next stop.
Okay.
But I just read the plaques.
Well, as someone who worked in a museum, knowing the work that goes into a simple plaque, I read every plaque I see.
I read every plaque, and then so I was out in the middle of the battlefield where they were just slaughtering people left and right. Mm-hmm. And I asked again, I'm like, is there anybody out here? And I was like, I know there's somebody here, and it's okay. Boom, goosebumps.
Where's Zach Bagans?
Exactly. And I had asked the girl, she was this young girl, which, she was in her 20s, and she was a ranger, which that's odd to me. Only because usually rangers are older.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't
I've
see
had a few job offers for rangers, but it's like
there's not a lot of young people that are rangers.
They don't pay enough. That's why I never took the offer.
So
which I need to stop thinking about money and thinking about what I want to
exactly. And I was like, I said, did you ever get creeped out around here? She goes, no, not really. She says, I welcome it. I said, well, I was in Leetown. She says, yeah. I said that area is very heavy over there. She says, yeah. She says, if you go over here to these woods right here, she said, it's eerie over in them woods too. So she knew what I was talking about. But it's a neat battlefield. It's a huge battle. It's the biggest. It was the largest battle, combat, farthest west.
West of the Mississippi?
Yeah, well, it was the farthest. It was the largest battle in the west, basically.
Okay.
There were a lot of other small battles in there,
Yeah.
but this was the biggest one. But very cool stuff.
Have you been to Gettysburg?
I've been to Gettysburg.
I love Gettysburg.
I want to go back. I haven't been in like 13 when I went. So.
I went on an 8th grade field trip to Gettysburg, and it was our first.
You almost need like 3 days at
Yeah,
Gettysburg.
we didn't have enough time. It was like we spent like half the day there, but it wasn't enough time. We got rushed through everything.
And then you got kids goofing off and
Yeah. Me, of course, the history buff at the time. I wanted more time. Sorry, I'm calling Tim.
Right.
Hello.
Hi.
What's up, guys? Sorry, I had some post-draft business to take care of. Made a few trades.
Already?
Sold my soul.
I'm happy with my team.
Well, one of them was in the Belt League, and I traded my first-round pick for Miles Sanders and a third-round pick. Now the problem is I have Zeke and Miles Sanders in all 3 of my leagues.
Uh-oh.
So let's just hope that they both do good.
We've just been talking about the Civil War.
My
Civil War.
well, I went on
Are
a
we talking
trip.
about the Civil War or like from Futurama, the Sithal War?
No,
Because the Sithal War was pretty dangerous.
No, the American Civil War. I went on a trip and I went to this Civil War battlefield, so we were talking about that. So.
No, but as I was saying before, I had to call Tim. When we went to Gettysburg, you can still see bullet holes in the buildings.
Yeah.
Because it's like illegal to patch that up now because
Yeah.
it's a historic site.
You could do that out west. Like if you go to the old bars, like
Mm-hmm.
if there's certain like you go to old country towns out west and they have like they moved a bar from wherever to
Yeah.
this area and there'll be bullet holes in the in the doors or in the walls, and that stuff's kind of cool.
Anyways,
But yeah, Missouri and Arkansas are very.
underrated.
It's beautiful. The Ozarks are beautiful, but don't be going in people's property that you don't need to be going down because you probably get shot.
Yeah, and no one will know you got shot.
That's right. Yeah, they ain't even care. They'll just burn your car, and they just think it's a bonfire, like
Put you in the swamp.
Well, in a swamp, but they'll bury you on a mountaintop somewhere. That's,
Oh, yeah.
But I went out there and I met my buddy's widow. Right, that's why I went out there, because my buddy passed away, and I went to his memorial service. And I went to Blue Eye, Missouri.
Never heard of it.
Population like 39, I think is what it says. I'm not kidding. And here's the thing about Blue Eye. So like Blue Eye is in the middle, right? So you got Blue Eye in the middle, and then you got Welcome to Arkansas sign on one side of the square area, which is like a park, and the other side it says Welcome to Missouri. So Blue Eye is kind of like a dead zone, in my opinion. So I went to my buddy's memorial, and I'm driving around looking for it, and I see this little table set up outside this house that looks as old as Arkansas. And I was like, no, this can't be where this is at, right? And you see all these, I mean, it's a rough crowd. And, there I am in my little white car, and I I look nice. And
It's like a biker funeral.
it was like a bike, I mean, it was just rough, backwoodsy people. And I got out and I started talking to him, and what nice people. They're extremely hospitable. They're very, and my buddy's wife, you could tell, like, she's like, oh, you have cold air conditioner in your car. I'm like, okay, now I know she doesn't have a car with air conditioner because I have cold AC in my car. But I met these people, and what nice people. All of them were very nice. We had, for they had a dinner spread, which was lunch meat and potato chips and pop, and that's what they do. And I mean, you really honestly, and I felt bad after the fact, because here I am, you're judging people based on what you see.
Yeah. Don't judge a book by its cover.
No, and I'm already like, I'm not gonna like this. And how do you not like people that you don't know? You don't know their story. You don't know their background, and you can't be that way. You can't walk around with a chip on your shoulder. You've got to give everybody a chance before you got to know their story. But what nice people. So I kind of felt bad that I kind of prejudged them based on the Beverly Hillbillies look, but they were really nice people, and I'm glad I went, and I had a nice vacation, kinda, sorta. And that's when I realized I'm ready to go on a full-blown vacation by myself.
You're ready to go to Florida or to the Rockies or just out west?
I'm just going out west. I will go out west, or I'll go up to, and I'll just hit Civil War battlefield. I am comfortable, so comfortable, because you know what? I have to get up in the morning and go, what do you want to eat for breakfast? What do you feel like? And you go, oh, where do you want to go?
Do you just want to sit in a hotel room and swim, or go swimming?
Go swim? Yeah, I don't want to do that. No, let's do something. And I don't have to worry about, I can read every plaque at a Civil War battlefield and not get eye rolls or people.
We need to go to the Air Force Museum in Dayton. Because I could have spent hours in there, and I'm not, she's not a history nerd like me.
Right. And
I wanted to sit there and read every plaque, and she let me do it. She let if you want to read every plaque, do it.
Right, but you get this feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started reading. I went back to my roots as working in a museum. I was like, okay, I know which plaques are the most important ones, and I just read those.
Because it's funny because it says, like, before you go out on the battlefield, plan a 30-minute trip through the battlefield. Mm-hmm. Now, I was there for 2 hours.
30 minutes is the basic. The basic. Just let's go through and see.
Just go through and see what everything is. I mean, I got it. I got out of my car. I took pictures. I looked at the. I visualize. Like there's this area, and it's like this is where they camped before the battle started. This was a Union. Picture a Union camp, and I'm picturing.
Just imagine a bunch of people sitting
a
there,
Union camp. Yeah.
Eating their hardtack.
Yeah.
Writing their loved ones. drinking some
And
whiskey
they
or
use this.
something.
They use this road behind it, this open area to get their supplies up and down. I just visualized and pictured everything. So I was there for, you're supposed to be 30 minutes, and I was there 2 hours. So, yeah, I don't. I ain't dumb. I'm not gonna find nobody that's gonna want to spend 2 hours at a. Well, I mean, you will, but you know what I'm saying. But like you said, you get that feeling of they're bored.
Yeah.
Because I'm reading every single thing. But I'm such a sponge of wanting to know so much about history.
We're sponges of useless. I don't say useless, but quote unquote useless information.
Yeah, I want to know. And it's funny because you say that because when I went down in South Carolina back in February, I would ask my friend Dana. She's like, and I asked her. She's like, she's like, Chris, you're, she's like, well, I don't know why you're single. You're a nice guy. She's like, you ask so many questions. You want to know so much about things. You ask so many questions about this area because I was asking about old money.
And he's like, knowledge is power. And
it is power.
Knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half. I really lived that whole G.I. Joe credo from when I was a kid. That knowing is half the battle.
So, just because we don't really have a set topic for today, we're just kind of talking. Mikey watched the Shang-Chi movie, but
Giorgio,
he went to he's in a bowling league and he's bowling today.
Well, it is Tuesday, not Monday. So
yeah, it is Tuesday because when did we record yesterday? I forget because I don't think
Tim was working. And then I got back about 6:30.
You weren't. Well, you could have done it, but you would have been pooped.
I would have been tired. Yeah.
And I didn't feel like doing it yesterday. So
and that's fine. So we're here. We are Tuesday night.
I just want to have a fun. You know how we had those fun questions. I want to ask you guys because we're talking about history. What is a time period? If you could go back, the language. You go back to the Roman times. Latin, or you go back to ancient China. Ancient Chinese or ancient Egyptian, whatever. If you could go to any time period with the knowledge you have now, what time period would you go to? Let's start with Tim. If Tim's
Hold
ready.
on, I'm
Anytime in a
someone else go.
Any time period.
Yeah. Any time period, ancient Rome.
See, this
China.
is hard because I was thinking about this while I'm in Eureka Springs because it's like the stair town.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what jackwagon builds a city in the middle of a mountain where you got to build all these steps? And how do you get to it with a horse buggy? And how rough are these roads?
Aliens.
And why would you want to live in this area in the 1800s? I mean, that's some rough terrain out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to take that into account that it's not, interstates and,
You'd still be a, lack of a better word, an old fat guy.
I doubt anybody. I don't think any of us would be fat because you don't have restaurants every quarter mile of the
The rich
interstate.
people would be fat.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be rich. I'd be scrounging. I don't know. I've thought about this, and I would think. I think it would
Chris would be hedonism bought.
I would say probably the early, like the 1920s or 30s, because that was like a very revolutionary era for America. There was a lot of inventions made and progress
you would go back
towards.
to any time, and you would go back 100 years.
I don't want to go back.
Chris.
I don't want to go back farther than that. I don't want to go back to the Civil War where me shooting and skinning something, is how I have to live. I ain't doing it.
Talking about going back and living in the time for
Yes.
however long your life would be left.
Plus, everybody wore like a suit and tie everywhere and a bowler hat.
Time travel gone wrong.
Time travel gone wrong. You have no way of going back, so you gotta go somewhere.
So like when Cartman went back to the Civil War and he was Robert E. Lee.
Yeah. Or like in Voyager when they go back to the was it the 80s, 90s?
That's who he did.
Well, in Star Trek they went back to the 30s. Remember?
Yeah.
And they had to let what's her name die because she was a spy for Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Or how about even better with in Next Generation with when they went back in Time's Arrow. That was a fantastic two-parter.
City at the Edge of Forever was the
And
episode.
Ducat is in it.
Yes.
I don't know. So you're trapped. You go back in time and you're stuck.
You're trapped, but you got the knowledge of what you have today.
I mean, do I have to go back? Can I get stuck forward?
No,
I might go
no
back
forward.
to
just back.
I would go to the
Discovery
1880s because I would be rich because I could invent stuff.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
like in Frequency when he tells his buddy to buy Apple.
Yeah. I think
I would go back to like a more for like self knowledge, but like down to either like a biblical time where like something happened, or like when they were building the pyramids.
Oh my God! No.
I want confirmation.
You want to be a
that
Jewish
something
slave?
happened with somebody, like maybe Jesus coming back. Like I want to see if it.
you want to make sure that the pyramids aren't landing sites for.
Have you not seen
for
like?
talks.
Haven't you seen those like Jesus
For
movies?
Stargate.
They're out in the middle of the desert. Why would you want to live in the middle of the desert? You know, like
Dry heat. You don't got to worry about humidity.
there's no. I couldn't, and I thought about that too. I'm like, Jesus' time. That's some rough living.
Or like some sort of like maybe.
I would invent
Excuse me,
soap
maybe
and
like,
shampoo
like
because
something in Greece, like a Greek period where there was like maybe the Oracle of Delphi. I could call out on our bullshit, maybe.
You're just high on vapors.
You're just a Roman puppet. I played Odyssey. I know.
I watched Amadeus. Speaking of Time Machine, I watched Amadeus, right? It's a
Amadeus,
3-hour
Amadeus.
movie. That's what I was thinking. They totally missed out by not being able to use that song because that song came out after the movie. There ain't no way I could live back in that time. Never.
Or
But
that even
it is amazing that
Tech
Amadeus
Nine,
created the music he did in that time period.
Yeah. I think.
That was the amazing part. Speaking of time, is the music. I mean, and I didn't know I made a TikTok with this thing, right? With this music, and it was from the Magic Flute, which Amadeus wrote. I heard it in the movie, and I'm like, oh my God, I did a TikTok to that.
I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to going like back further to like Hammurabi time.
So
See-
like before we were like settling cities, or just when we were settling
I would
cities?
still say like the 19.
Because I want to know like how we just like wandered through the desert and like little like tents, and like I doubt we could make tents, and like or maybe we
You
probably
could go back to the 30s and do that too, the 1930s. You know, go to Hooverville.
like poor Hoover who got like all the cities named after him. I feel bad for that man.
It wasn't even really his fault.
Like, I don't know, like, I don't claim to know that much about, like, presidents or anything or that, but one thing I do know is Hoovervilles. I remember that specifically, so poor Hoover in my mind is always associated with a terrible little shanty towns.
So honestly, I would have to go back just 100 years because there would have to be car racing still,
Running water.
running water, movie theaters, places like that. But because knowing now, especially like about the Indy 500 and stuff,
Yeah.
and how easy it was to be a race car driver back then, I mean, you could just get in a car and drive.
Would you be betting on like, all right, I know who's going to win that
Exactly,
first?
I would be a millionaire.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I feel like we can't be changing the past, because if that's the case, I'm gonna go.
Oh my
back
God!
to,
Now we're gonna get into
I'm
this.
gonna go back to Hammurabi's time and be driving around on a little cart, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, the wheel! Holy shit!"
I've always joked I would take like a pistol with like at least 100 bullets, at least some,
and just like amaze the.
just
I
you
think
shoot the first
Could-
5
could-
people, they're
could
all
not
going
be
to
in
worship you.
Starfleet. They're gonna be like, "All right, Prime Directive." We're gonna be like, "Screw the Prime Directive."
I like the
God.
idea. I like the Bill and Ted idea of time travel, in that you go and get people from time periods and bring them to the future.
To give a speech.
Yes, and then just so they can see how much the world has changed in,
And
I
go.
think I'd go to like ancient Rome just because it's ancient Rome, and I'd
Yeah,
want to see like a
Rome.
chariot race or something, and maybe save a few people at Pompeii.
Be like, "Hey guys, we should probably finish the Coliseum."
It was finished.
so finish the Colosseum. It was finished.
There's this big gap right here.
Don't lie.
The
You want to be
wall should
Russell
probably
Crowe,
close down.
don't you? In
Yeah.
in Gladiator. Are you not entertained?
And then you have a smirk on your face because you're like, "I said it first." Hee hee hee.
But no, they could quote that Russell Crowe's character is based on a real person named Chris Markowitz.
Christopher Maxicus.
Chris Maxicus, who actually said, "Are you not entertained?" You could be like Stonewall Jackson. There stands Jackson. There's Jackson standing like a stone wall, same way. I mean, I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Oh, just on the topic of time travel, Chris with a C, I have some temporal issues with Discovery Season 2, but we'll talk about that at a later date.
We can talk about that now because, it's fresh on your mind.
I need some time to get all my notes together because I have a notepad that I'm filling with things from, what's going to be a long podcast, my friend. You better buckle up and get a drink.
Are you to Season 3 yet?
Oh, I'm done. I've watched the 3 seasons probably like 4 times now. So
what'd you think?
If you want to talk about an expert, I'm getting pretty close to it.
What'd you think of the show?
To the point where I know what they're gonna say.
What'd you think of the show then of Star Trek Discovery?
As much as I hate you every single time this happens, it's so good. I love it.
I told you the first season's a little rough. The second season's the best.
The first season, as much as I'm all about like I want some fun episodes in the middle, I feel like the 2 back-to-back episodes when they go to that planet with the those weird creatures, the little dust creatures, and First Officer Saru gets a little crazy, and then the one with when Mudd takes over the ship with his time travel thingy. I feel like those 2 episodes kind of slow it down.
The best episodes of the first season are the alternate universe.
Pretty much everything about it. I mean, there's a couple things I would maybe change, but I wasn't too thrilled with the season with the source of the burn. But like I said in our chat, that it's not really about the destination; it's more about the journey. So you only really find out about it on the second or third last episode. So it's not the biggest deal that it's. I just wish it was a little bit of a better
reason than some kid.
Yeah, it was like this big mystery, and then it was kind of a cop out. I feel like they didn't know where to go, so they just put in like a stopgap.
I do like how they went to the future. Like
season 2 is grade A though. Every single episode in season 2 is golden. I would give it like an 8 or a 9, a 10 out of 10. They're all fantastic episodes. The mystery of season 2 is just as powerful as the mystery of season 3.
So did you get on this time machine thing because of the video I posted?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the time machine
about
thing.
Back to the Future and have had.
Yeah. The whole discussion about, changing time.
Do you change? Well, you don't change time. You change the outcome of the future. Mm-hmm. You put a ripple in time, kind of like the butterfly effect. You ever see the butterfly effect?
Yeah.
My God, that's one of my favorite movies, and people hate it.
That's a good movie,
and I love it. That's the reason why I fell in love with handsome Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher is still pretty handsome.
I love that movie. It's like it was my first real delve into what the hell is time.
What? I would still like to know how this Citizen Watch ad showed up on my Facebook thing, because my buddy's widow gave me his watch.
Oh, because you said Citizen Watch, and now thanks to you, me and Tim are both going to get ads.
Now you get Citizen Watch. You're going to get ads for Citizens, because she's like, do you want his watch? It's a Citizen. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to have his watch. That would be great. So I've got Citizen Watch on my Facebook ad for some reason.
Because I heard you talking about it.
I guess, but that was like 3 days ago.
Doesn't matter.
I just said Citizen, yeah. So, yeah, we could do the whole argument again about whole time travel and how do you change the outcome of time.
You don't I've always argued that, everyone's like, I'll go back and kill Hitler. No. Think of all the lives that it would change.
It would change all of it. It would change the last
70 years.
Everything you do.
Everything would be completely different, which is why you probably would just create an alternate timeline, and it would just be like, I always picture Back to the Future with the chalkboard, and he has like the line.
Yeah.
And then the line coming from the line, but then when you go back in time and change something, you don't go back to the original timeline because you messed something else up. It creates a different split off of that one.
You never go back to the same timeline you left because it's already changed. I think a good example is like one of the ending scenes of Loki, of just everything splitting off, and that there's just tens of millions of upon millions of different branches, because me picking up this glass or not picking up this glass is a different branch.
Okay, so
I'm a firm believer of time. Well, time is a human construct, and it is relative to the person. As Spock says, I love Spock in Discovery. I love him. He's fantastic. What a handsome beard he's got on his face. It's fantastic. He's such a good character. But time is relative. 180 days for one person is the blink of an eye for another.
Yes. Because think about it. Let's say I go out on I'm supposed to go out on a date. Let's use this as an example, right? And for one reason or another, she cancels that date, right? So I go out with my buddies, and we go bowling or whatever, right? And there's a girl at the bowling alley. I meet that girl at the bowling alley, and we date, and we start dating. And next thing you know, then you're engaged, all because that one girl that you were supposed to go out with canceled the date.
We make
every decision. That's right. There's a reaction to everybody's action all around you.
Point out that Spock says all this in like the last episode of season Discovery.
See, I don't even have to watch the show because you can just tell me.
Watch it.
I don't have to watch it.
No, you should.
You have Paramount Plus.
I know.
So you might as well watch it. And Picard, season 1.
Oh my god.
Oh, I can't wait for season 2. I can't wait for all of them. Lower Decks season 2 is fantastic. Every episode is gold.
Lower Decks season 2 is hands down the best season of Star Trek ever.
It's so good. I don't know what's saying best season of Star Trek ever. Calm down. It's only 4 episodes in. Relax.
No. It's one of the best seasons of Star Trek ever.
Oh, completely off topic.
Fantastic. I love it.
Completely
off
topic.
So funny.
Completely off topic. So I took my laptop with me so I could download pictures onto my laptop, right?
So we could watch porn.
So me and Chris have the same laptop. So,
mm-hmm. So there's definitely porn on
it,
okay?
It was pre-programmed on there, yeah. So, but I left the air conditioner running in my hotel room, right, all the time.
Yeah.
And there was so much moisture in the air, I couldn't turn my computer on. And I was crapping my shorts because I had already downloaded my pictures from the Civil War battlefield onto my computer. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, what is it? And then I had went over to where the AC was, and I could feel moisture like on the table. I'm like, that's what it is. So I got home last night, and the first thing I did was pull out the laptop and push the start button, and it fired right up. So
just too much moisture.
Too much moisture in the air. Scared the crap out of me though. So I didn't get to watch porn.
Well, the first thing you do with your hotel, anyways, is turn it down to as far as it'll go.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not paying for the electricity.
That's right. That's why I did. I had a cold room, very cold room, and it was dark as hell in there too. Jeez. But yeah, I don't know if I was going to time travel. I would rather do like Star Trek time travel and be able to get back, one way or the other.
Sometimes you can't get back and you're stuck there for.
Yeah, I know.
Until the time police come and get you.
You could play Fizbit.
Or I was gonna say until they like Bender's head in Roswell.
Oh yeah.
But you have to come back at the same time that you left.
Yeah.
Because then it messes up everything.
Just like in
not
Bender's Big
necessarily.
Four.
You come back after.
You can't.
As long as you come back after you left. Because then you would have just been like gone for.
Well, yeah, but you can't leave during the day and come back. You can't come back during the day. You got to come back in the middle of the night when there ain't nobody around.
Why not? You can just appear. You disappear and you reappear.
You can't. So that you think that's how people just appear, and maybe they're time travelers?
Yeah.
And they're just appearing in a time, like they're in a space-time continuum.
How do I know
there?
you didn't time travel just appear at my front door?
Because I drove over here.
How do I know that's not your time travel vehicle?
And your time car.
Yeah,
We know.
Your
my-
time
my-
pistol.
my-
is
my-
Austin Powers.
Yes.
DeLorean with a skin on top of it. I know.
Yes, I get my Outlander up to 88 miles an hour, and I travel through time.
1.21 gigawatts.
Which is funny because Back to the Future was on last night when I got home and I was watching it.
It all makes sense.
Exactly. We're in Back to the Future right now, Tim. So whatever we do doesn't matter.
I hope I just don't walk through here and go, Chris, you won't believe it. We've got to go back and change everything. It's all different now. I just sent you back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What's your name? Eastwood. Clint Eastwood. What kind of stupid name is that? Look at them boots. He got Nikkei on there.
I haven't seen that movie.
I love those movies. They're so good.
I've never actually seen the second one.
The second one's The third one is so good, though.
I've seen the first and I've seen the third. I've probably seen the second
I
one.
want to see the third one again so I can watch the little kid point at his pee-pee that he's got to go to the bathroom on the train at the end of the movie.
What?
Okay, so I saw this online. So, when Doc and his wife and the kids come in a train, to back to Hill Valley from the 1800s.
Yeah.
So in the scene, one of the little kids in the background is pointing at his junk, like he's got to go to the bathroom, and you can see it in the movie.
They never picked it up.
And they never picked it up.
Okay.
Kind of like the Riddler. Did you see that TikTok
No.
that I posted?
I haven't looked at it yet.
So there's a scene in the Batman movie, and they're with Two-Face, right? And in the corner of it, you can see Jim Carrey standing there waiting to come out. Like that's where he's waiting to come out. He's just sitting there waiting. So yeah, it totally ruins.
Or in Game of Thrones season 8, when the Starbucks cup is sitting right there. I love how big of a deal that Starbucks cup was.
It was a huge deal. Like there was an argument over whose it was.
I know, but it's like, what else did we miss though? It's only because that season already was so bad.
I liked the ending. I'm sorry, I don't know how else you're supposed to do it.
I mean, I didn't mind it. I just didn't care.
I just didn't like the big battle where you couldn't see anything because it was so damn
Yeah.
dark. There's all kind of. There was another. There was two mess ups in that one. That was the first one. Oh, in the Great Outdoors with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd, they leave, but you can see Dan Aykroyd count down because they're supposed to react to like a bear in the thing, so you can see him counting down, and then he's like 3, 2, 1, and then they all run out, and you can see that in the movie too. There's all kind of. I watch Boy Meets World on Disney Channel, and you can see the boom mic. Like in the last 2 seasons, the boom mics are
in
almost every.
Hobgoblins. Where
Yes.
you see the guy's hand shaking.
Yes, we saw that. We saw boom mics in one of those movies too, didn't we?
Yeah, in Hobgoblins, we saw the boom mic also.
You can see a boom mic in Mr. Mom. The movie Mr. Mom with Michael Keaton. You can see a boom mic there.
Mandalorian, you can see the guy standing in the background, like a support guy.
Yes.
Like in a gray polo or something.
Yes.
It's just, you have so long to get those episodes out, and you just miss stuff. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, but then you start picking stuff up. That Hobgoblins one was so obvious, though, because I could see it in the theater. It's just his hands. Like, oh my God, you can see his hands. Yeah, boom mics are notorious. You can find boom mics in a lot of different. If you're looking, I saw them all the time in Boy Meets World. I would like back it up and.
For a show that was so popular for a while.
Yeah, but Mr. Mom has got a very obvious boom mic. The movie Mr. Mom. So that's what we need to do. We need to do research on movie mistakes.
I was going to have 2 more topics, but...
Well, what was it?
I was going to bring up, I mean, I guess we can still talk about it. We got plenty of time. We're at 45 minutes. Movies that graphics didn't really stand up, and then movies that graphics did. So like Star Wars, until he went back and kind of messed with the graphics, the old graphics, the miniatures and graphics stood up
They did stand up. He should have never touched them.
until he went back and touched stuff.
He should have retouched. All he should have done was just touch up.
But then I went back and rewatched. Me and Kimberly are starting to rewatch. She's never seen them, but it's a rewatch for me. The Lord of the Rings movies. And the first Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings, some of the graphics are so bad in that movie because they're computer animated. They never gone back. Of course, I'm not. I don't want to watch the director's cut, which are 4 hours long.
Why not? They're such great movies.
Because the regular 3-hour movie's fine.
Did they change the dialogue like they did in Star
There's a lot
Wars?
of Lord of the Rings fans out there that are grabbing their pitchforks and stuff, ready to kill you. Just so you know.
That's fine. They can come.
So, what about Harry Potter? They hold up?
I don't know. I haven't watched any of the first
I don't think I've ever
three.
seen director's cuts of Harry Potter. I don't know what.
No,
they'd
I meant
be
just has
missing.
the graphics held up?
I don't know. I haven't rewatched the first 3 or 4 Harry Potters. I've only ever really rewatched the last 2 or 3. So
I don't know about other than Star Wars. I mean, I'm all for retouching.
Star Trek. I'm for retouching, but there's a point where Star Wars that he went too far, and they made fun of in South Park of him wanting to go back and redo Raiders.
That was awesome.
But Star Trek, the graphics still hold up pretty well. Even the original show and movies.
I think so too. Yeah.
But that's all because it's practical effects. Practical effects hold up.
Well, yeah, they use models. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it.
They use little firecrackers as explosions.
Yeah. I like that so much better.
Deep Space Nine was one of the first ones to really use computer animated graphics, but that was because they had such huge fleet battles sometimes.
Then the Next Generation, I always thought their graphics were cheesier than the original series.
They were because that was before he grew the beard. After Riker grew the beard, the show came into its own.
So the beard has its magical powers
The
of
beard
making the
does.
graphics better?
It does. By season 2 or season 3, he grew the beard, and that show was just amazing.
It was season 2. It might not have been the very first episode of season 2, but it was in season 2 somewhere.
I read a story that he came to set with the goatee after a break, and he was like, "I'm gonna shave it off." No, I was wearing it for whatever, and they're like, "We like it. You should keep it." And that's ever since then. The show was
Did people start hating Wesley Crusher by then, or?
Yeah. Well, the thing there's actually
I never really hated Wesley. I thought he was
he's not that bad.
There was
he's a
a-
little annoying, but I mean, everybody's a little annoying.
We're not the Wesley Crushers. We're the Wesley Crushers.
He didn't bother me, but also, I don't know. He's probably more aimed at the younger kids, anyways, because he's the kid.
Kids run everything.
But anyway, I don't even remember what I was gonna say. There's actually a thing called in film called growing the beard, which is when the show comes into its own and becomes amazing because of Star Trek: Next Generation. But then there's also jumping the shark from
That's from Happy Days.
Happy Days, because after Fonzie jumped the shark in Happy Days, the show went
The
down.
show went downhill. That's right.
So that's actually a thing in
It's a
TV
huge
shows.
thing. Jumping the shark is huge.
Yeah, because it's the height of the show, but it's also the start of
It's
the,
also,
end of the beginning.
that's right. So when a
Or
show starts,
the beginning of the end.
yeah, if any show like the Brady Bunch, when they added Cousin Oliver, when they jumped a shark.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime they add a little kid to a TV show, they've jumped the shark because the kids that were on the show are grown up and they aren't cute anymore.
Yeah.
And you can go, that's Growing Pains, that's Who's the Boss, that's The Cosby Show,
Yep.
all of them.
When
they all jumped the shark.
when did Big Bang jump the shark?
I don't think it ever did.
I think it did.
I don't think it. I think
everybody
because it
started
ended
pairing
perfectly.
Yeah.
It ended perfectly because he wins the Nobel Prize, right? So how do they end the show? They're back on the couch, just living their normal lives.
But I thought the show got bad. I started hating the show.
I liked when it was just random episodes.
Yeah.
I didn't
It was-
I'm not
it was-
a big
I
fan of,
honestly-
when they all were dating each other.
I did enjoy it more when they just had Penny
Yeah, I didn't mind Bernadette, and
But-
I didn't mind.
You have to grow the show. You just can't run the same joke of Raj can't talk to women and Leonard's in love with Penny. It only goes for so long. So then you have to start adding in that love interest thing.
It hit a point for me because I was a nerd. That show was I was in high school. That show was me in high
Don't
school.
be making fun of that show's my favorite TV show.
No, I liked the show, but it became a point where it was not like smart humor. It was ha ha, look at these nerds. I've really felt like it hit that point where it was just making fun of the nerds.
Well, I mean, that's about there was only, like I said, there's only so much you can do.
I know.
You know what I mean?
One of their
But
best
I
jokes
don't-
is the Flash joke when they're all the Flash.
Well, they're all the Flashes. I don't think that of all the shows, everybody talks about great shows in the end shitty. Friends, they always said that. Seinfeld was like that.
Seinfeld ended horribly.
Right, but as far as this ending, that's what I said. I don't think it ever jumped the shark because I like the way they incorporated when the woman who played Howard's mom passed away in real life.
I loved how they incorporated.
I loved how they put that into the TV show.
And they always had you never saw what she looked like until she passed away.
They had
they put a picture.
Put a picture on the refrigerator.
Yep.
Yes. I like the way it ended. I thought it ended smart.
I've still never seen the last season.
Oh my gosh, the last
But it's
season.
on HBO, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'll watch
The
it
last
after.
season is really good, and like I said, the way they ended it was, everybody knows. Yeah, Sheldon wins the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, Sheldon and Amy win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of them being, instead of everybody splitting off and going here and there, and where do they are? They're back in the apartment and they're eating together. And just like their lives never changed. Yeah, he won the Nobel Peace Prize and he wears the thing, but his life hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. He's still Sheldon. And you had those bits between Sheldon and Penny, and one of them, there are two different things that I loved about their relationship. One was when she got him Leonard Nimoy's autograph as a Christmas gift, and he didn't know how to react, so because he went to Bath and Body Works and bought a basket of stuff, and so he bought like 20 different baskets of different value because he wasn't sure what he was going to get, what she was going to get him. So she gets him the Leonard Nimoy autograph. So he starts coming out with every basket he bought at Bath and Body Works. Then he gives her a hug because he doesn't hug people.
What was it? He got the DNA of Leonard Nimoy?
Yeah, he got because it was on a napkin, and she says, "I'm sorry, the napkin's dirty. He wiped his mouth on us." And he's like, "I own the DNA of Leonard Nimoy." And then there's another.
Rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy.
There's another episode where Penny quits her job at the Cheesecake Factory to become an actress. She's going to focus solely on that, and they're in the car together, going somewhere. She's going to drop some shots off, and Sheldon goes with her, and she asks him, "Do you think I made the wrong decision in quitting my job to become an actress?" And with all sincerity, he says, "No, not at all." She says, "Because we're dreamers." And I thought that was touching because he always made fun of everything she ever did.
Yeah.
And but for him to say that, he was a dreamer. He wanted to win the Nobel Prize. That was his dream. And she wanted to be an actress, and he's like, "No, you're not wrong. They're wrong because we're dreamers. They don't get us." And I thought that was kind of a poignant part of the series in their little relationship of love, hate, love, and
Penny.
what a great show. I love that show so much.
I actually kind of want to rewatch it.
I watch it every once in a while still. It's in the background. That's my background show.
That's Futurama.
Because I've seen them, like, I've seen every single episode more than once. And,
Tim, I rewatch Futurama at least like once or twice a year just because it's my background
Futurama
show.
has a fantastic series finale. Like the real series finale, the one at the very end.
I've never cried for a cartoon except for Futurama. Futurama made me cry so many times. Good ending. The dog episode where he, his Jurassic
I
Park
episode every single time I come across it.
The last episode, of course, made me cry. When Bender was a baby and he's trying to figure out like why he's he has a malfunction where he can actually die. He doesn't download into a new body. I tear up on that episode.
I know the song from that. Chickadee,
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 huh?
fly through my window. Chickadee, chickadee, fly through my window. I love that
Yeah.
episode.
It's a funny show, but it's also a very deep show, which
No, there are so many episodes that are just like gold.
yeah. Wow. We went from talking Civil War to
to Futurama and The Big Bang Theory and Star Trek and time travel. This
Anyway.
episode was all over the place.
I know. Anyways, I gotta not to like just end it, but we're coming up on time. I got a shower thought.
Thank God.
I know, right? Mikey's been slacking. Somewhere in the universe, some photons of a light you released from a flashlight as a kid is still traveling.
Wow.
Do we want another one?
Yeah.
Light travels forever. That's not a shower thought. That's a galactic.
Being an adult is knowing why there is a good set of scissors and the scissors you can use to cut things.
That's the truth. So is that how we're ending it? You want me to take us out? Can I take us out?
You can take us out.
Yeah,
want me
you
to
can take us out.
Okay, because I want to be as bad as Chris. Let's see if I can be as bad as Chris. So, you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube, and now Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime Podcast.
Yeah,
or
Amazon
something.
Prime Podcast or something like that. And you can find all of your nerdling things of Civil War, time travel, into the Big Bang Theory, Futurama, Star Trek. And then you never have to ask who's your nerds are.
Not as bad as me, but pretty bad still.
Who's your nerds?